What's up, people? So you guys are getting a fair share of boxing news today. I think a lot of you know about this already. Um, Possible matchup between Mikey Garcia and Errol Spence Jr. And I know what everybody thinks. Errol Spence is going to kill him and stuff like that. And I get it. I get it. Trust me, I get it. By the way, you can leave your comments in the comment section right across here. You know, the Boxing Voice is doing his thing. My boy ATI, I actually left some comments for him. But I want to look at how it's possible for Mikey Garcia to actually win this fight. Because I think everybody's ruling out Mikey Garcia a little too quickly. And I know Errol Spence is a serious challenge, but the fact that Mikey Garcia wants to fight Errol Spence, well, what is it Mikey Garcia is seeing? So we're going to look at, first of all, Errol Spence and what he brings to the table. And then we're going to look at what Mikey brings to the table. And then we're going to think about it a little bit more. Okay? So let's think about it. Errol Spence is a well-schooled boxer. Technical. Comes off the jab. All right? He uses the jab to get in to range and get to the inside. Preferably, Errol Spence likes fighting on the inside, but he can handle himself on the outside. Not really a mid-range fighter. And that's an important point to remember. All right? You guys can leave your comments, man. I haven't seen you guys commenting on my videos. So but let's just think about it for a minute, right? Mikey Garcia fights at mid-range. Has a pretty solid defense. You don't really see Mikey getting tagged. So he has a pretty good defense. He has the high guard. He can use the double guard where his guard goes all the way down to his body and covers all his major organs. So he's got that solid defense. And then on top of that, he also has some feints. He also works off his jab. He uses some feints at times. And he also uses some pivots. He will pivot, he uses a selection of pivots, okay? And he uses the uppercut and spear jab and that kind of stuff, which Errol uses as well. Now, just looking at it from surface value, you would say to yourself, well, Errol Spence is probably as skilled as Mikey to some degree, and therefore the bigger boxer should beat the smaller boxer. And obviously, Errol is going to look to bully Mikey and put pressure on him and break him down. Now, when I think of Errol Spence, when he gets to the inside of a fighter, he still needs room to collapse those long arms because he has very long arms. Collapse those long arms to get that leverage to throw those body shots. He picks his body shots. He counts on his opponent to freeze up, 1, 2, to go defensive while he's throwing those body shots. And I think about Mikey Garcia for a couple seconds, and I'm thinking Mikey's not going to freeze up and let Errol pummel on him. That's the first point. And I think about the level of competition Errol has faced. He's faced some really good fighters, some that have never been stopped, like Kell Brook and a number of others. But I thought, and Errol can box, okay? And I've thought about it, and I'm thinking he's fought switch hitters and different types of fighters, and he's able to break them down and stop them because he has sheer power, and he's also pretty big, and he's technical. I'm thinking, how could Mikey Garcia beat a fighter like that? And I thought, Errol loves throwing body shots. That's his thing. His thing is body shots. He loves to hook body shots particularly in. Not so much spear jab, not so much jab a fighter to death, but mostly land those wonderful body shots. He loves to land his body shots. And I thought about that. And I said, if Mikey could take that strength away from Errol, what does Errol have left? He's got a jab left. And he's got some straight rights left. Or straight lefts, sorry. He has a straight left left. Maybe a right hook. But if you take away the body shots, which is the hooking to the body, and how does Mikey do that? You ride the shots. So if Mikey can ride those shots, like how Kell Brook rode the shots with Golovkin, if he could ride those body shots and himself throw some body shots at Errol and land some body shots at Errol, even though Errol's body is well developed, Errol is, you can see he's well conditioned. He's going to take a hell of a lot of body shots to really break down Errol. He's well conditioned. But nonetheless, if he can really start ripping body shots to Errol, especially at key places, if he can manage to ride through Errol's body shot storm and defend it ride some of them shots, catch some of them shots, dip under some of those body shots because Mikey's shorter than Errol. So Errol will have to bend extra low to get to Mikey. And if Errol is bending, this is when Mikey can catch him with a jab. He can catch him with a straight shot. Straight shots always beat hooks. And if Errol's on a hooking spree, Mikey could hook with him and probably even hurt him, especially if Errol's not really thinking about what he's, if Errol's so busy being offensive that he's kind of, even though he's mostly defensively responsible, Errol has that guard glued to his guard while he's throwing a hook. So he's pretty much defensively responsible for the most part. But I was thinking about it. Errol breaks down his opponents because they are not counterpunching him while he is throwing, especially his body shots. When he's having fun throwing his body shots, ain't nobody counterpunching him. Okay? And I thought about that. I thought about how people said, okay, he gave Floyd Mayweather a black eye. Okay, cool. For the Guerrero fight. But Floyd adapted to Errol, and then after that, Floyd always had the better of Errol. And Floyd's a much smaller fighter than Errol. Okay? So as much as he gave Floyd the black eye in sparring, he didn't dominate Floyd after that. And that's interesting to remember. And I was just thinking about it. If you have a bigger, stronger fighter, you're going to use their bigness and their strength against them. Errol's going to be a bigger target for Mikey. Yes, Errol sometimes squares up a little too much. And Mikey can take advantage of it. And if Mikey uses his pivot work right, he can catch Errol at different angles. So does Mikey have all these aspects to his game? That's the question. Can Mikey get small? Can Mikey counterpunch Errol while he's throwing his hooks to the body? Errol loves that. And the hooks to the head. Errol loves to hook. So can Mikey nullify the hooking power of Errol, nullify the body shots of Errol, ride those body shots, pivot sometimes to get away from those body shots? When Errol tries to close the gap, can he counterpunch Errol and make Errol think about how he comes in? Now, Errol generally comes in off the jab. Errol uses his jab. Can Mikey slip that jab? Can he roll under the jab? Can he split the jab and counter the jab? All of these are very important questions. If Mikey can do those things, like Canelo can do those things, like Floyd Mayweather can do those things, like Andre Ward can do those things, Errol all of a sudden is not going to be a monster anymore. He's actually going to neutralize Errol and actually use the strengths that Errol has, especially when Errol's coming in off the jab, and you can slip that jab and counter Errol as he's rolling in, or even hit him with your own jab. He can take the steam out of Errol and bit by bit break him down and use his strengths against him. So a lot of times people look at a big guy and they say, oh, this guy's going to dominate the division. He's the boogeyman of this division. Not necessarily. Most of the fighters Errol has faced so far are not great movers. What I mean by that is he's never faced a Keith Thurman, for example. I'm not saying that Mikey Garcia is a great mover either. He's very economical. He likes to stay in front of you, likes to pressure you and push you back. So I can understand why Mikey's going to be right there. The question is Mikey's footwork good enough to deal with Errol? When I say footwork, I'm not talking about bouncing all around the ring, which is what Muhammad Ali would do, or skipping, running around the ring like Floyd Mayweather did against Marcos Maidana. But I'm talking about precise footwork, where you're using a system of pivots and you're moving through and you're staying at an awkward angle, so that he throws an angle that Errol actually finds that he's out of position when he tries to throw a punch. That's what Mikey has to be able to do. He has to be able to circle Errol, or sometimes move to Errol at strange angles. Like I was trying to explain to one of the other guys before, when I talk about upper body movement, it's very important. If Mikey can move his upper body properly, he can actually ride some of those body shots, catch some of those body shots. And like Canelo does, he can move his upper body in a very interesting way, where he actually changes the angle of movement with the upper body, and he can change it back, he can change it forward. If you can change that angle, you can actually ride a hook. So for instance, if a guy is hooking you this way, okay, if I am here, right, and he's hooking me, I can go in like this, but I can also shift it and roll that hook, roll with his hook. I'll roll outwards, so I can roll outwards this way with the hook. See, so as he's hooking me, I'm rolling with it. So he's hooking me and I roll with the hook, but I also catch it at the same time. So I can roll with it and catch it. And if Errol is running a combination of hooks, I can roll it this way, block it this way, catch, and then shoot. Catch and shoot and stun him. Now I can catch and shoot and hit him to the head, or I can catch and shoot and dig to the body. Okay, dig to the body with my own shot, my own body shot. So there are things you can do to guys like that who like to hook a lot. Like GGG loved to hook. That's why he couldn't touch Canelo to the body, because Canelo be rolling his hook. Or sometimes he do a Floyd Mayweather move where he scatter off to the side like that, and then GG can't touch him, and he just dip under those hooks. And that's what, if I'll never see Mikey do that, but if Mikey has a way of dipping under the hooks, that's why I say get small. You can dip under the hook and then come up with something. Come up with a jab, a spare jab especially. Spare jab. You go low and you spare jab him and snap him back. Now you got to think. You got to reset. Now you got to come in off his jab. You slip the jab and you land something. And that's what you got to do. And you got to stay. Since Mikey is a mid-range fighter mostly, you have to stay at mid-range and you got to punish him to the body. Every time he tries to throw a jab, you got to punish him for that. You got to punish him for trying to throw a hook. You don't want him throwing hooks. You don't want him throwing jabs. That's his strong point. You don't want him throwing lead lefts, right? You punish him every time you throw a lead left. And since Errol Spence puts all his oomph into every punch, he doesn't, especially when he's going to the body, he just rips it, right? And that's stupid, because sometimes you need to have pit-a-pat shots to find range, and then you rip it. And he going to start a pit-a-pat a lot more when he realizes he keep on getting punished for it. So Mikey must have seen something like that and realized, if I got to deal with a guy like Errol Spence, who's much bigger than me, and he's heavier than me, and he's going to try and bully me, then I got to use his force against him, Aikido. This is what Floyd did with Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao come flying in, Floyd check hook him, send him flying across the corner, use his force against him. And that's what Mikey has to do. I don't know if Mikey can do it, but I could see very much that Mikey sees certain things that he could do to exploit it on Errol Spence. And he says, this guy's not no boogeyman. And once he can handle catching those hooks and catching those shots, of course, he's not going to give his body to get hit with, but he's going to roll those shots. You got to roll it. Once he can roll those shots, catch those shots, ride those shots, and pivot away from those shots, and not just catch the shots, but you got to catch and shoot. You got to counter that guy. You got to make him. You got to hit him, because I don't think Mikey has the power to knock out Errol Spence. However, if he can get his attention. And therefore, Errol Spence has to think about how he's going to work his way into there, even if he's working it off the jab. And if Mikey keeps on tagging Errol Spence continuously, like he did Adrian Broner, if he can tag him, he makes Errol Spence every single time reset. And now Mikey's in control, because now he's making Errol Spence think about how he's going to come in on him. Errol Spence is a lot more skilled than I'm making it out to be. Errol Spence might make Mikey come to him when he realizes what's happening. He's going to change up the game and say, okay, you come to me, right? So, there are many different ways to go about doing this. And I'm not saying Errol Spence is the easy guy to fight, because he can box. Errol Spence can box, he can fight, he can bang, he can do it all. And so it'll be interesting to see them adapt to each other. But what I think, though, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think Mikey's going to actually make the 12 rounds against Errol Spence. A lot of people think Errol Spence is going to just take him out of there. I just don't see it. Mikey's too smart a fighter, too crafty a fighter, and too skilled a fighter to just let Errol Spence run all over. He's not going into a fight to get Errol Spence to run from. He's not going to run from Errol Spence. I'm telling these guys again, Mikey going to be walking to Errol Spence. Y'all don't believe this. He's going to be walking to him. He's not going to take a step back. And he's going to use his defense to make sure Errol Spence does not break him down. Errol Spence will want to get him to the ropes. Mikey's not going to allow him to get to the ropes. Not going to allow him to. And he's going to change up the angles on Errol Spence. I already see how Mikey could not beat Errol Spence, but he can hang with him. And get a decision or have a draw or have a close fight with Errol Spence. I can see how that can happen, because Mikey has certain tools that make it possible. He's a technician, mind you. He's not a magician like Floyd. But if he practices certain things, I mean, he hanged with Marcus Maidana. A lot of people say Marcus Maidana is not a technician, but he's handled Marcus Maidana's power. And I believe the strong point of Errol Spence, like I said before, is his body punching mostly. So if you can take that body punching away from Errol Spence, make Errol Spence have to work to get to the body, make him work to get feints to get to the body. Because Errol Spence is kind of straightforward. He comes off of a jab. He doesn't really use a lot of feints. And if Mikey can use a couple feints as well, make Errol Spence guess what he's going to do next, counterpunch Errol Spence, catch the punches, the body punches, make Errol Spence realize you ain't doing me nothing, brother, homie. You're not doing me nothing. He could actually break Errol Spence in terms of how Errol Spence has to figure out how to now go in and break this guy down. So I think Errol Spence has got a lot of confidence. He's really in great physical shape. He's very fit. He can take punches as well going in. He's got good boxing skill. He's a good technician. Well, I think Errol Spence's thing is going for him is his body shots. He likes to get that body work in there. Of course, he will use the straight left to try and land it on you in your head. If he can't get to the body, it's whatever is available. But at the end of the day, I think Mikey could take that away from him, the body work. And if you take away the body work from Errol Spence, he's left with a jab. That's all he's after. And if you can slip that jab, roll that jab, split that jab, and counter that jab, you have a good chance of making Errol Spence have to do something else. Errol Spence counts on a number of things. 1, his physical condition and his strength. 2, his punching power. 3, his body work. 4, his southpaw stance. And if none of those things have any effect on Mikey Garcia, you're going to see Mikey Garcia walking to Errol Spence and probably even walking him down. And your guys are going to be shocked that Mikey Garcia can do that. So Mikey Garcia, he knows what he's getting into. He knows what kind of training he'll need to get to that point. And I'm telling you, man, a lot of you guys thinking that Errol Spence would knock out Mikey Garcia. I don't think so. I really don't. And Mikey Garcia is a lot bigger a boxer than you guys think. I think he's a 150 pounder, 154 pounder actually. He just been walking down at 135. He can make 135. He can make 140. But I think he's a 154 pounder walking around. And I think also that Mikey got the skills. Floyd Mayweather knows this. Mikey got the skills to handle Errol Spence if he has to, and make it very competitive. And y'all talking about Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford, y'all should really have been talking about Mikey Garcia versus Errol Spence. Anyway, you guys gonna see what I'm talking about very soon. And Mikey tested out some of his formula against Adrian Broner. All right, he tested out some of his formula. He's a technician. He's not a magician. He's a technician. He works hard. So we'll see. I don't know. Errol Spence might stop him. It depends on if Mikey is taking his game to the next level and he understands what you need to do defensively. Once Mikey Garcia's defense is on point, Errol Spence is not going to land on it. Errol Spence counts on the hooks. That's what he counts on. His body work is hooks, not straight stab to the pit stuff. And Errol Spence might adjust it and try and go stab to the pit on Mikey, which would make sense if Mikey doesn't start his stab to the pit before. It's who gets off first anyway. But I just don't think Mikey just gonna pick Errol Spence just like that just because he's stupid. I think they're gonna have a plan. They're gonna train. Textbook plan. It's gonna be more of a technical fight, as Errol Spence is also a technical fighter, and we're gonna see what happens. Because I think a lot of people think Errol Spence is a boogeyman, and they think he's the second coming. I think Keith Thurman gives Errol Spence all the problems in the world. And when Errol Spence gets to Keith Thurman on the ropes, a lot of people think that Errol Spence will break down Keith Thurman. I just don't see it happening. Keith Thurman has also a solid defense. When you have a defense where your elbows are blocking your major organs, you can put a guard up and everything is blocked. Then that means what's Errol Spence going to hit? He's not going to hit nothing, right? When you know also how to pivot, what I mean by that is if you're on the ropes, Errol Spence gets you on the ropes, he comes into one side and you face him. You face him on the ropes to one side. What's he going to hit? He can't hit nothing. When you try to pivot one way, you pivot with him. He's not going to hit nothing. See, when you have proper defense, Floyd Mayweather show you how to do proper defense. You have to watch the footwork of Floyd Mayweather. If you have proper defense, Errol Spence is not going to trouble you. He's going to be trying to lash off with his combinations. You could either shell up on him. I would prefer if you shell up and counter him. Okay? That's the best way to go. You shell up and you counter him. And he's going to be shocked because he think he could just have free reign to land punches and then you just land a punch on him. I remember Oscar De La Hoya trying to hook Floyd Mayweather and Floyd Mayweather catch him with something and stopped him. He pulled back. That's the same thing with Errol Spence. He would come in off the jab. Then when he thinks he's in position to land a body punch, he realizes he can't land nothing. And on top of that, you counter him, you slap him to the head, you catch him on the chin, or you catch him on the body when he doesn't expect it. He's going to pull out and he's going to try and reset. Then he's going to try and come in. He's a big dude. So he's going to try to do that. And what people don't really understand is, even though Mikey hasn't fought at welterweight, Mikey's a big dude. That's what a lot of people don't realize. That's how he was able to knock down that lightweight. The lightweight that he recently faced, the tall 6 foot tall guy. Errol will use his height though and his size, and he'll try and bully. He'll try and bully Errol, and when he realizes he can't bully Errol, he's going to try and box him and break him down that way. That's how Errol will approach Mikey, I believe. And again, Errol's a smart guy, and he fights. He's smart. He fights smart for the most part. He tries to get the knockout, but he fights smart, and he's well trained, and he's really in shape. His conditioning is ridiculous. He has ridiculous conditioning. So that alone is going to give Mikey all he can handle. But all Mikey really has to have is defense on point. A lot of the fighters who face Errol, one, they had to headhunt Errol, which is stupid. You have to go to Errol's body. And two, a lot of them don't really have on-point defense. Kell Brook has pretty decent defense, but Kell Brook is an outboxer. That is, he fights on the outside. Once you get on the inside, Kell Brook has to tie you up. He's not really an inside fighter. Mikey is a mid-range fighter. So Mikey actually has a better chance of getting to Errol Spence and really doing some good body work on him versus what Kell Brook would do. Kell Brook was beautiful at headhunting, and he got Errol Spence to the ropes and all of that with his headhunting. But he's not a good body puncher. You have to be a good body puncher yourself. And Mikey, being Mexican, he's got lovely left hooks and he's got lovely body punching, even though he does go to the head quite a lot as well. But he'll need to go to the body in this case to break down Errol Spence. He's the smaller guy. That's what Canelo did against GGG twice. And that's why Canelo got the win finally against GGG the second time. So Mikey probably is reasoning it out and figuring out what he needs to do. And if he just watches film on Canelo and he's able to move his upper body like Canelo moves his upper body, he's not going to get touched by Errol Spence at all. Not at all. That textbook stuff where you come off a pump in a double jab and you slide in off an angle, it ain't going to work against Mikey. If Mikey knows how to slip the jab, 1, 2, he knows how to split the jab and counter. That's going to, I mean, none of that stuff, that actually work in Mikey's favor because he ain't had to burn no energy to get in. Errol's going to come to him and he just counterpunch the daylights out of Errol and make sure his defense is tight. That's all he had to do. Make sure you have tight defense, counterpunch this guy whenever, and then you can take initiative and then start walking his ass down after he has expended a lot of energy. And the thing about Errol is Errol expends quite a lot of energy doing his body punches. He really tries to rip them body punches. So what happens if Errol misses a body punch? Think about what I'm saying. He throws a body punch. It's not blocked or anything. He just hit ear, nothing but ear. And he does that 3, 4, 5 times. He'll keep on going like a machine. But when you start hitting his breadbasket now, you say, oh, you think you a body puncher? Here's a body punch. And you start landing your body punches on him. And he has to close up now and think about his defense while trying to mount an offense on you. And he has to think now because you just took the initiative from him. That's where you break down those kinds of fighters. And Errol hasn't had a fight. I think he had one fight against one guy, which really put some work on him. He made him work hard. So that's the kind of thing that Mikey needs to do. Errol Spence is not supposed to take Mikey for granted. I never think that just because he's a smaller guy, he'll be able to walk him down. He'll try to walk him down early. When he realizes he can't walk down Mikey, he's going to try and box him. And then when he realizes that Mikey is just kind of getting the initiative on him, if that happens, he gets kind of dictating, then he's going to try other things. And that's what I'm looking for with Errol Spence, to see more dimension from him. And I also expect more dimension from Mikey. Like I said, if Mikey can do some of the things I just said, that's easier said than done, by the way, then I truly believe Mikey's going to give Errol Spence a run for his money. And I think this thing goes to 12 rounds. If it goes to 12 rounds, it's possible Mikey could win it. It's possible they could get a draw. It's possible Errol could win it by split decision. But I just don't think, I really honestly don't think Mikey's going to pick this fight if he doesn't know what he knows and how to handle a guy like Errol Spence. And I think Mikey, they're not just doing this by chance. I don't think so. I think Mikey is taking this fight because he knows he can actually beat this guy. That's the truth. And everybody's talking about Errol Spence as this boogeyman. He's so big and strong. Big and strong don't mean nothing. Yes, but he can box too. That's true. But he's not this incredible Hulk and this guy who cannot be beaten. You go to the body. I don't care if you feather fisted. You go to the body for the entire fight. It's going to have an effect on the guy who's bigger and stronger than you. And if you have pretty good, you just have to have decent footwork. Footwork meaning pivots. You got to know how to get your angles on these guys and also keep an angle where it makes it harder for them to hit you. Canelo knows how to do that. Floyd knows how to do that. Andrew Ward knows how to do that to some degree. You have to fight the guy at a range the guy is not used to fighting at, and you have to make him miss in his preferred range. That's the key, especially make him miss, and then make him pay for missing. And you can get Errol Spence to miss a couple body shots, ride them or block them or roll them, or just clearly just roll under them, slip them, dip under them. If you can get him to miss that stuff and have to dip in, got to dip low to get shots. So you can set him up for an uppercut. You can set him up for a spare jab. You can set him up for a hook yourself. You could hook him yourself. You could jab him yourself. You could actually land the power shots on him. So you have to get Errol Spence, since he's big, tall guy. Then you have to be smaller than you usually are. That'll make him miss, because you have to punch at a certain height anyway. You train to punch at a certain height, not get bolo punches all the way down to the ground, right? So somebody's dipping that low and keeping out the way of you and rolling away from you, like Keith Thurman does, like sometimes Sean Porter does, or it goes from low to high like Sean Porter does, using leaping left hooks and that kind of stuff, which I've never really seen. I've seen Mikey do some of it, but so Mikey's not really that kind of fighter. But if you can do that, so Keith Thurman will give Errol Spence the fits, because Keith Thurman can move and all kinds of things. And he throws some weird combinations too. So by and large, Mikey's a more textbook fighter, but you just never know. Okay, guys, let me see what you guys are saying in the chat section. There's some of you here out here. Let me see what you guys say. Okay, people just watching. Y'all ain't saying nothing. Okay, that's cool. All right, cool. Yeah, man. I was just checking to see. You guys can talk, man. It's the chat section right on the side. Come on. Leave some comments, man. Talk to me. What do you guys think about Errol Spence versus Mikey Garcia? I know on the surface, a lot of you guys are going to say that's suicide. That's suicide. That's a suicide fight for Mikey. He's going to get killed. I don't think so. I just don't think so. Mikey's a smart boxer. You don't get killed just like that. Trust me. You don't get killed just like that. And I think Mikey knows what he'll have to do in a fight like that, and he should be prepared for what he has to do in a fight like that. But I just don't think Errol Spence is well conditioned. Don't get me wrong. Fights guys much bigger than him. Okay, 175 pounders, light heavyweights, probably even heavyweights. Okay, so I know Errol Spence would have the power and he had the strength, but I think you guys are underestimating Mikey Garcia. I think you guys are underestimating his size. He fought a 140-pounder in Adrian Broner, backed him up, was bullying him. There are reasons why that happened. This is not going to be that kind of fight. He's not going to just be able to back up and bully Errol Spence. He's going to have to use counterpunching. He's going to have to use a very solid defense to be able to do anything against Errol Spence. He's going to have to vary his stance, his offense, that kind of thing, because he's more of a pot shotter than he is a combinational puncher. But at the end of the day, Mikey Garcia versus Errol Spence is an intriguing fight. Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence would be intriguing, but I think Mikey Garcia versus Errol Spence is also intriguing. Very intriguing. I don't know what weight they would be at. I could be assuming they'll still be at welterweight. And I don't see why that wouldn't happen. And I don't see why that's not an incredible fight. That would be an incredible fight. A lot of people is going to be saying, well, if Mikey could just make it to the finish line and Errol Spence doesn't knock him out, I think Mikey's a much better fighter than people give him credit for. And so he's not going to go into that fight without being scientific and without a good defense and without not mounting his offense. But like I said before, he's going to have to fight small. That's how he's going to get Errol Spence to miss. You have to dip. You will have to roll under punches. You will have to land punches at certain angles. You'll have to make sure that Errol Spence thinks he's got the right angle and he realizes he doesn't have the right angle. Sometimes you're going to have to counter him off his jab. You can make him pay off his jab or make him pay off of his lead left. You have to make him pay. So he must miss. You must block some of his shots and catch some of his shots and ride some of his shots. See, that's the key. Canelo and all these guys know how to ride shots. So you can't knock out Canelo. That's not happening. All right, because he knows how to ride, catch, roll under, dip, and ride shots. You know what I mean? And slip shots and split shots. Right? And these are very important skills. And so when you meet a textbook fighter who's going off his jab, you know, and again, Errol Spence might even do these same things so that both of them could actually be nullifying each other. It can make it an interesting chess match. And who's going to make the first mistake? That's at the highest level. That's what's really about. So, you know, Mikey Garcia, man, yeah, I'm pretty sure he can hang with Errol Spence. And a lot of people say you know, I listen to people saying he's going to get crucified and stuff. Mikey ain't going into no fight. Mikey's a smart enough fighter to know he's not going into a fight to get crucified. It's just not happening. Okay, and Errol Spence, he knows Errol Spence is a good boxer. He would know Errol Spence from the amateurs. Okay, he would know that Errol Spence was a medalist in the Olympics or an Olympian. So he knows what Errol Spence can bring to the table. I'm pretty sure. I'm sure he's seen Errol Spence spar and all of that. And he's gone to Errol Spence's fight. So he knows what he sees in Errol Spence. This is not something where he knows Errol Spence is one-dimensional and all he works at. No. His thing is, like I said before, Errol Spence's strength is body punching. He's also pretty good with his lead left and shooting from range and keeping range and that kind of thing. But for the most part, he excels at body punching. So if you can nullify his body punching, you have nullified Errol Spence, because that's basically what Errol Spence's bread and butter is. See? It's that simple. And if you could take his strength and use it against him, you're going to beat him. It's just what it is. So that's the strategy to beat Errol Spence. Really simple. Now, the training and the preparation for that is going to be pure hell. But there are rewards for it. Of course, Mikey could get injured in training. He's not doing things the right way. So it's a very risky fight in terms of preparation for it. Not so much, I think, the actual fight itself. What do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section. Let me hear what you guys got to say. So, man, you guys got 3 videos from me today. KTMPL. It's going to be a tactical fight. Might be reminiscent of Mayweather versus Cotto. The later rounds will tell. Sounds like Marciano's kind of fight. I think Spence will be a different fighter in the early rounds, though. Yeah, I believe that, too. I think Spence is going to show us some more stuff that he has. I'm just telling you the things that Spence has been doing in fights so far. And remember, he didn't have as much challenge in those earlier fights, so I'm not saying that Spence won't bring something else to the table. I've seen different things with different fighters that he's brought to the table and showed how he can adapt and still break down a fighter and still hunt him down, still bully them, walk him down, right? Spence has shown us a lot. It's not just one-dimensional, for sure. But at the same time, I do believe that Mikey Garcia is not walking into that fight stupid. He's not underestimating Spence. And so there are things that Mikey can do. There's a lot of things that a boxer can do. Whether he can execute it is another story. But that's why if Errol Spence was to face Floyd Mayweather 4 or 5 years ago, Mayweather would mop the floor with him and make him look stupid, because Mayweather knows how to do certain things, certain positions. Like I tell you, catching shots, you know, riding shots, particularly riding shots are important. Dipping under shots is very important. Rolling under shots is very important. These are things that are defensive things, and also having a proper guard, pivoting in the right angle to make a shot non-effective. If you're just hitting my elbows for most of the fight because I guard my body well, I protect my body well, you're not going to get me out of there, okay? And on top of that, I'm catching your shot. I'm catching it and I'm shooting at you. Maybe a straight shot first, shoot to the head, probably shoot to the body. Maybe a stab to the pit, maybe a straight right to the pit. Since it's a southpaw, straight right to the pit. Maybe I circle you different to what you expected. Maybe instead of running from you, which you were expecting, so that you can back me up to the ropes, I'll stand my ground, but I use upper body and lower body movement and slight pivots all the time. I throw the angle slightly off, so every time you throw a shot, you find yourself coming up short, and then I'm tagging you. You know, if I'm a mid-range fighter, I'm going to use my mid-range. I know you ain't mid-range. I know you have to be inside the pocket, or you got to be outside, I'm gonna use mid range. So you always dropping short or too long, and then I could tag you up. You know, and Spence sometimes tries to make room for his shots. While he's trying to make room for his shots, I crack him to the head, and then I go down to the body. I start cracking him with the best leverage I have to get the best body shot I can, and I mix it up with feints. I mean, you guys got to understand there is a way to beat all these guys. All right, now it's whether you can execute it, because it's always about who's first. If Spence is first, this could easily become his fight. If Mikey is first, it could easily become Mikey's fight, because once you can get a punch in and make a guy think, or make a guy doubt himself or second guess how he's going to come in on you, then you have the upper hand. And from there on in, it's kind of like your fight. So you have to understand how fights are. A lot of people think about size and punching power, how this guy is knocking out everybody, or how he's big and strong, or how he has well conditioned. You could be well conditioned how much you want. You could be mentally, determined to do something. It don't mean you're gonna win no fight, because this is about the other guy and what if Mikey does things to make Errol Spence guess himself, because he's counterpunching the daylights out of Errol Spence, and Errol Spence is not landing what he wants to land on Mikey. All of a sudden, Errol Spence has to change up his game. He has to adapt to what Mikey is doing to him, and if he has to do the adapting, Mikey's ahead of him. You see what I'm saying? So you have to understand that's what happened with Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner didn't know what to do when Mikey was walking to him, and his defense was on point, so that Adrian wasn't really landing the shots he wanted to land on Mikey. Later on in the fight, Adrian was landing some shots, and Mikey gonna have to watch out for that. He had to be able to take Spence's punch, which means he gotta fight guys that are, much bigger than Errol Spence, like middleweights and stuff. He gonna have to fight some good middleweights. And the nice thing about it is, in Robert Garcia's gym, there are guys who can really, really, really crack. Now the problem with Errol Spence is he's pinpoint accurate. Once you give him the opening, he's taking it, right? And he's pretty quick too. He's not the fastest guy in the world, but he's very, very strong and well conditioned. That's the thing with Errol Spence. He's well conditioned. Errol Spence can go 12 rounds, 15 rounds, 24 rounds. He can just keep going. Okay. So Mikey's best bet is to go to Errol Spence's body. Errol Spence obviously is going to go to the body, and he's going to try and get to the body and land shots to the body. Whether he lands those shots to the body or not is another story. But once Mikey keeps his defense tight and he starts counterpunching what Spence is doing, then Spence has to step up his game now and figure out a way to counterpunch Mikey, to catch Mikey inside of those counterpunches. So it's a whole game of chess. Boxing's not what you think it is. Okay, there's all these little nuances and little, all these little feints and stuff that these boxers do that you're not seeing when you look on the outside, but on the inside they can see what they're doing to each other. And it's a lot more complex than people think, and it's a much more of a chess game than you think. And Spence does a lot of things inside that ring that I'm not even talking about, but I'm just saying on the surface, it's not as open a shot case as you guys think about Mikey Garcia getting himself killed by Errol Spence. It's not as open a shot. Yeah, Errol Spence has knocked out a lot of opponents recently. That doesn't mean it's going to be Mikey's going to be one of those, okay? Because most of those opponents headhunted Errol Spence. They were all doing a lot of headhunting. They weren't going to his body, right? So Errol Spence didn't really get taxed to the body. He got taxed to the head, but he didn't get taxed to the body. And when you're dealing, of course, you have to deal with what is available, the openings. Errol Spence does protect his body pretty good, though. But at the same time, if Mikey can catch Errol Spence while Errol Spence is trying to throw his offense, that is catch and shoot, especially counter punch Errol Spence, he could surprise him, because Mikey doesn't have to have all that power. All he needs to do is hit Errol Spence when Errol Spence doesn't expect him to hit him. And then the game suddenly starts to change. It's not about all this power. It's about catching a guy when he doesn't expect it. His body's not tensed up to block that kind of punch, to absorb that kind of shot. You can catch a guy with a really soft shot and knock him down, depending if he wasn't expecting that punch. Any punch can knock a guy out when they're not seeing it and they didn't expect it. Catch a guy right, man. You could have the guy crumple on the ground in great pain from a liver or a spleen shot or even a kidney shot. You know what I'm saying? So it's not all about power, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. It's about placement and it's about timing more than it is about power. KTMP says, I agree. It's going to be interesting, man. Both guys will display a lot. For sure. I think Spence will be a different Different fighter in the early rounds, though. Yeah, I think so too. He's gonna show us some different things. And that will make this fight interesting. I like to see how these guys will adjust, adapt to each other as the fight goes on. But yeah, you could have a game plan to fight Errol Spence. You can have a game plan that will work. Whether you can execute it is another story. But yeah, there's a game plan that could work. And I'm pretty sure Mikey can take 1 or 2 punches from Errol Spence. Errol Spence breaks you down. That's what he does. He don't have one punch hit or quitter power, but he breaks you down. That's what he does. KTMPL. The latter rounds are going to be the fight. It's possible. It's possible. Depends. If these guys are adjusting to each other, ain't nobody going to get knocked out. It'll be something like Canelo versus GGG. You know? Christopher Smith. I think Spence and Mikey are the highest level where size matters. I don't think they're the highest level. I think Keith Thurman's a much better boxer than, say, for instance, he's not as textbook, but he's a lot more trickier than Errol Spence. And even Mikey Garcia, because he had that fleet of foot, he's pretty quick on his feet. And I don't think Errol Spence has faced anybody, as far as I know, who's as quick on their feet as Keith Thurman is. Very agile as well, and very unorthodox. So if I were Errol Spence and he had to face Keith Thurman, that would be a tricky fight. Tricky fight. Even though Errol Spence is really sound technically, I still think it's a tricky fight. Christopher Smith says, I think it will be a similar result to Kell Brook versus GGG. Mikey may outbox him, but he might be overwhelmed. No, I don't think so. That's the thing. Again, it's all about how sound your defense is. How sound defensively you are. If Mikey's keeping his guard up, I mean, Errol Spence is going to be whooping at hands. And then if it's not just about being defensive. It's not just about having your guard up. But if this is the other most important thing. If he can catch and shoot Errol Spence, that changes the whole fight. If you can counter him, it changes the whole fight. He doesn't even have to counter him very hard at first. You know? So that's the thing. And I don't think Errol Spence can overwhelm Mikey Garcia just like that, especially if Mikey Garcia decides he's not taking a step back. First, he probably will box and see what's going on with Errol Spence, but keeping his defense tight. Once you keep your defense tight, what is the guy going to do? He can't hit you. So what's he going to do? That's what happened with Canelo and GGG the second time. Canelo knew he had such tight defense that GGG, as much as GGG supposedly has this great jab, which he does have, he has a decent jab. But Canelo can slip the jab. He can split the jab. He can roll under the jab. He can dip below the jab. He can slide in under the jab. You know, there's so many things he can do. He can counter the jab. You know, when you can do all those things, all of a sudden, the jab doesn't mean nothing. The guy can double it, triple his jab. He's coming down a certain line anyway with it, especially when sometimes Errol Spence tries to come in with that power shot and he try to double up the jab coming inside. And then Mikey just slipped that and come right up on the inside, right up on Errol Spence. What Errol Spence is going to do? Because Errol Spence still needs distance to get that leverage with his hands, right? What are you going to do when Mikey just slide right in on it and jab him himself? What are you going to do? Especially if Mikey goes under those jabs or under those hooks. Mikey start moving under those hooks. Now, all of a sudden, Errol Spence is missing his shots. That's a totally different story because Mikey got an advantage being smaller. And that's what people don't understand. When you're small, you stay small. You get as small as you can. And you go from low to high. All of a sudden, your opponent can't hit you. That's what Marcus McDonough did with Floyd Mayweather. And Mayweather was like dazzled for a good, and then Mayweather adapted to him. And he started doing his own thing. But in the meantime, Marcus McDonough stayed low. And all Mikey got to do is stay low and come up high. All of a sudden, Errol Spence got a problem because he's missing most of his shots. And this is the things that people don't see. And I guess Mikey must be seeing some of this. If Errol Spence has to bend to get down, to get the leverage to catch at Mikey, now he's on Mikey's level. All of a sudden, he made himself small to come at Mikey, which makes Mikey now be able to counterpunch him even easier. And if Errol Spence goes too low, his center of gravity will be off. Mikey might be able to tag him and even drop him. So you have to understand how boxing works. It's not as simple as it seems. And you fighting a smaller opponent. I remember when I was playing basketball, them short little guys would steal the ball from me. Why? Because they close to the ground. And I got to put the basketball down on the ground. And it got to come back up. It take a longer distance for it to bounce in my hand than them smaller guys. And I had to bend low if I want to get it to minimize and move faster. So they can steal the ball from me much quicker, right? So, and they faster than me. Mikey's going to be quicker than Errol Spence because he's a smaller guy. So all of these things you guys are not thinking about. You know, it's not about power and strength only. If Mikey can negate that power and strength, all of a sudden he's got the advantage. And now it's Errol Spence that has to adjust his game and deal with Mikey. And this is the thing you guys are not seeing, and Mikey's seeing this right now. And he's like, man, I'm taking this fight. This is money in the bank for me. You know, this guy is technical. He's good, but he's still straightforward because he still comes off his jab. And if I could slip a jab, I nullify that. You see what I'm saying? He has to have a preferred range. He loves to bang to the body and hook to the body. I can nullify that. And if Mikey sees that he can nullify those things because he's got a decent enough defense, he can take a 1 or 2 shots from Errol Spence. And Errol Spence is not going to knock him out with 1 or 2 shots. Errol Spence has to accumulate shots on you. Okay? Errol Spence likes going to the body. If I deny him the body, I can take a couple of headshots. I'm okay with risking a couple of headshots because I'm a Mexican. So at the end of the day, he'll take a couple of headshots. He ain't going to get a whole set because Mike's going to be changing head slots and stuff. And if he uses the upper body movement, like I'm telling you, it's going to become totally difficult for Errol Spence to tag him. Whereas Errol Spence, who keeps his head in center line too much, he can get tagged by Mikey and might get countered to the body a lot. And this is the stuff that you guys are not seeing, that I already started seeing, where it's possible for Mikey to beat Errol Spence or even be competitive with him and not get stopped. Maybe Errol Spence wins the fight, but at the end of the day, Mikey stays competitive with him. And that's something that you guys might not be seeing. And Mikey doesn't have to take a step back to do that. And that's something you guys are not seeing either. If you can slip and split a jab and move small, minor pivots, it's all about pivoting, see? If you can pivot your body and use some upper body movement, and not no exaggerated upper body movement, Canelo does it so well, where you're using minimal movements and you're changing your upper body position. If Mikey can do those kinds of things, this well-conditioned fighter as Errol Spence is going to catch his tail to tag Mikey. And all the things he does well suddenly taken away from him, and Mikey's doing those things to him. And you guys may not see that, but it's possible. And that's why I'm saying, when you prepare for a fighter, you have to think about every possible thing. If Errol Spence underestimates Mikey Garcia is going to beat him. That's what Adrian Broner did. Errol Spence is not going to underestimate Mikey Garcia. So we're going to get a good fight. We're going to get a very good fight. A fight that will go the distance, more than likely. Because these both guys are thinkers, and they're going to adapt to one another. And you're going to be amazed at how much fun this fight going to be in terms of a chess match. And I just don't think Errol Spence is going to knock out Mikey, because Mikey's going to do things to make sure that Errol Spence doesn't have that kind of power at the end of the fight. And is not going to be able to accumulate those kinds of punches on him. He's not going to allow Errol Spence to just come in and just get freebies on him. That's not going to happen. Errol Spence is going to have to work his last butt off to get on the inside to Mikey to get those punches in. Mikey going to make him work. They're going to work in that ring. And maybe it'll be a draw. Maybe it'll be a close split decision win for one of them. But I'm telling you right now, I can guarantee you this. Mikey going to make Errol work for everything he's going to get in that fight. And Mikey's a caliber of fighter, not like Kell Brook. He got a lot of experience. He's seen a lot of things. He's not going to just be like Kell Brook and get an eye orbital or something broken. People thinking Mikey going to come out of that fight a different person. It's not going to happen. Mikey going to come out of that fight like Mikey. Mikey going to be fine. Okay? Errol going to have to work his butt off, and he's going to be a better fighter for that fight. You know, I'm telling you, man, it's not as easy as you think. You know, and Mikey looked like he's a little guy coming up from lightweight. So people think he's a little guy. It's just like Sugar Shane Mosley fooled everybody. He came up from lightweight and fought Oscar De La Hoya and was able to tangle with him perfectly fine. And he boxed him a little bit, and he brawled with him, and he banged with him a little bit. And especially later on in the rounds, if you get some good body work in a guy, you can start hanging with him and banging with him, right? Especially that guy, he don't really have one punch hit or quitter power. You ain't got to worry about it, because the guy has to break you down. And if he ain't break you down in the earlier rounds, then you can do what you want to do because you broke him down. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times, you know, people be watching this fight, these fighters. I was listening to a brother who literally boxes and spars and stuff. And I'm surprised he can't see what I'm seeing. I'm not saying, again, that Errol Spence won't dominate Mikey Garcia. Anything's possible in boxing. I just don't think Mikey Garcia will make it so easy for him. He's not gonna make it easy. He's not gonna just stay freeze up in a corner and let Errol Spence wail away at his body. It's not happening. Right? And Errol Spence is not gonna just hit him in the head and his eye orbital and break his eye orbital. It's not gonna happen. All right, that's not happening because Mikey keeps a high guard. He keeps a decent defense, and if Mikey goes to the body, Errol Spence ain't gonna have that power to do something like that. So I think a lot of people are underestimating this fight. It's gonna be a great fight. I think a lot of people are worried for Mikey, and Mikey is not seeing that at all. He's seeing he got to have to prep for this, and I believe he feels he can hang with Errol Spence quite easily, and I'm not going to be wrong about it. I don't think it's wrong. KTMP, yeah, an active Keith Thurman. Yeah. Hopefully Keith Thurman will come out. Christopher Smith said, Keith sometime Thurman. You guys just be making fun of the dude. Christopher Smith. Yeah, you guys be funny. You know how long canned foods last? Canned foods last, right? I'm going to buy a can of beans and bet they will expire before Keith Thurman returns to the ring. You got jokes, bro. You got jokes. He's coming back. KTMP, look, people thought that Tyson Fury wasn't coming back. He came back, and he's fighting Deontay Wilder, the most dangerous guy he could face in the heavyweight division at this present time, right? Except for Baby Miller, but Baby Miller ain't got no ring or nothing. So AJ is not as dangerous as Keith Thurman or Tyson Fury, in my opinion. I think they really are the two best. Christopher says, does Mikey staying low make himself vulnerable to being smothered? I'm trying to visualize it. Dipping, man, dipping below a punch. A guy tries to throw a body shot and you dip below that. With your arms at your side, you got to cover up as you dip. You dip and roll. You can dip below. You can roll. That's all of the greats do it. Colonel Whitaker was known for dipping. Floyd Mayweather does dipping. I mean, who else did dipping recently that I saw? Somebody. Oh, and Demetrius Andrade does dipping. Everybody does dipping. That's good. They know how to dip. And so if Mikey Garcia dips, dude could be throwing the best body shot in the world. He's gonna miss, or he's gonna hit arms or elbows. They're dipping. I mean, come on, guys. Don't you know boxing, man? Defense, man. Defense. You gotta have good timing to do the dipping, but I'm just saying, you dip. You know? And you cut certain angles. There's certain, like, you guys don't understand what I'm saying when I talk cut different angles. I'm talking about you pivoting, constantly pivoting. You're going in a circle with the guy, right? But you're changing range at the same time. You're either moving into the guy or you're moving out. You're inching into the guy or you're inching away from the guy. That's what I'm talking about when I talk about cutting certain angles. Once you got the angle on the guy, you step in or you throw your punch in on him. You know he can't counter you. You guys don't know about T angles and stuff like that? Oh, man. You guys got a lot to learn. But anyway, yeah. Christopher Smith says, I honestly believe it won't end well for Mikey. Well, maybe. Maybe, but I think you're looking at it a little too superficially, man. Perhaps carrying a little extra weight than he used to can be a disadvantage. As we all know, Spence switches on in the second half. It doesn't matter. How can you switch on if somebody's landing body punches on? And I'm not saying that Errol Spence is going to be easy to land body punches on, but if he's so busy trying to crack his body punches, you can catch him and shoot on him. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, you can't see what I'm saying? Visualize it. Okay, let me show you. Let me show you. I'm surprised you can't see what I'm saying, man. You practice it. I mean, that's what you do, and he's gonna practice it with his sparring partners. Mikey got there are all kinds of boxes in that ring that Robert Garcia got. He gonna get people to spar with, and that's all. So you practice it. So for instance, I'm here, right? My hand right here. Okay. So if I'm using a high guard like this, okay, and I'm peeping through my high guard. This is my high guard here. My elbows are going all the way down to my hip. Okay, I practice the high guard like this. So my elbows go all the way down to my hip. You try to hook on me, which is what Errol Spence loves to do. He loves to hook and he likes to jab, He likes to throw the jab straight down the middle, okay? So he's now got me, say he's got me to the ropes, right? And he's going to try and hook on me. If you're going to hook on me, right, and you're coming in off the angle over here, so you're coming in this way at an angle, I'm going to turn to you like this. Now, as you try to throw your hook, I'm going to catch it right here or catch it right there. But I'm not just going to catch it. I'm going to catch it and roll it. So I'm catching and rolling, catching and rolling. Boxers generally do that. But now I'm going to add a little something to it. So I catch it, or I catch it right here, and then I counter right here. I counter you. I either hook you, or I spear jab you, or I whatever I want to do. So that's the catch and shoot I'm talking about. You catch it, you shoot it. And if I was him, I catch it and I shoot to the body. I'll make Errol Spence back up. He gonna back out. He gonna come out and back up. Because what he want to do is he wants to throw his punch from this angle. Errol Spence want to come up. He like to come off the jab like this, slide in, he pump the jab, whoop, whoop, and then he come with a body shot. Whack! Right? He loved to do that. Okay? He loves to comes off the jab with body shots. That's what he want to do. Or sometimes he would throw a shot to the head and whack to the body. He's really throwing a dummy shot to the head to get you to cover up top. When you cover up here, he opens up the body and he goes to the body. That's what he like to do. Okay? Go watch all his fights. You'll see that. He loves to do that. He don't really use feints. He come off the jab. Right? Now, what I'm saying is, if Mikey sees that, he can split the jab. Split the jab. You know what splitting the jab is? That is, I let the jab go by my body here because I want to counter over it. Okay? Split the jab, but still keeping the guard on this side. So let's say Errol Spence is coming across me. I'm going to let him split. I'm split the jab here, but I got my guard right here. Right? Because I know off of the jab, he want to come and land a body shot. So I split the jab. Okay, if I want to, I can counter with a jab, or I can land my straight right on him. Or I split his lead left, because he sometimes comes off his lead left as well. I split his lead left, and I counter with my right down the center to his body. I'm going to try to throw it right to the body. And I pivot out, pivot this way to his weak side. So, I mean, you guys got to understand how this thing works, man. It's boxing, all right? Can you see what I'm saying? So there's all those kinds of things that Mikey can do. There's many different things you can do in boxing. And it's a thinking man's game, sort of, but it's not really. It's kind of a game where you have to instinctively know what to do. All right? If you learn about fighting, you prepare, and then you instinctively do what you're supposed to do. You can't think at that time because it takes too long. All right, so, okay. I honestly believe it won't. Okay. So that's why I told you dip in and all that stuff. Christopher Smith says, $1 says Keith won't fight before February. I don't know what happens with Keith. Who has Adrian Broner underestimated love? Now, in the case of Adrian Broner versus Manny Pacquiao, I see Pacquiao beating Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner don't have the greatest footwork in the world. His footwork is pretty slow. He's explosive. Very slow on his feet, and you're gonna need to pivot. You're gonna need them pivots against Pacquiao. You can't be so your feet like stone. It isn't moving quick enough. That's the problem with Broner right there. And I don't care how much jabs he has and all of that. And Pacquiao knows how to split the jab and stuff. Adrian Broner could have the fastest hand speed in the world. It doesn't mean nothing because his feet don't get into position fast enough. It's a problem with Broner. He ain't gonna beat Pacquiao. Pacquiao changes angles at the drop of a dime, moves all around the ring. Some of it is wasteful footwork, but nonetheless, Pacquiao just has the footwork to beat up Adrian Broner. Broner has no chance against Pacquiao. Sorry, that's just how I feel about it. I bet $5 that Thurman won't be back at Pat's Day, at St. Patrick's Day. St. Patrick's Day, kid looking like Avatar. Christopher Smith says, you know what I'm referencing. You guys just be clowning right now. You guys straight up clowning, man. Christopher Smith says, I have Cropper winning all day against Spence. I just can't see Mikey pulling it off. Crawford. Let me think about Crawford. Crawford could go southpaw. He could be orthodox. Crawford try and use range, pivot. I could see him check hooking Errol Spence. Yes, I could see him pivoting away. Errol try to keep it textbook. Errol's got some agility behind him. Yeah, I can see Crawford beating Errol Spence as well. It's possible. Like this is my point. Is not that Mikey will beat Errol Spence. I never said Mikey will beat Errol Spence. I just don't think Errol Spence will knock out Mikey. That's what I'm saying. And I'm thinking that Mikey's gonna make it a better fight than people think it's gonna be. Mikey ain't going in this fight wanting to fight Errol Spence for no reason. He's not just doing that for kahuna's sake. He's seeing things as a scientist. With Crawford, Crawford's about the same height as Errol Spence. He's about the same size as Errol Spence, because Crawford is also a 154 pounder. Mikey, Crawford, Errol Spence, Keith Thurman, Sean Porter is bigger than all of them. These guys are big dudes. You know, they campaign at certain weights, but they're big dudes. You know, and that's what people don't get. So I gotta go drink water and stuff, folks. But yeah. No Castillo says it's hard to believe this fight is being made. Yeah, but fight at different weight classes, and he was doing problems to Adrian Broner. And Adrian Broner's really a 165 pounder who has come down to 140. So I mean, when you think about it, Adrian Broner's bigger than all of them, all right, except for Sean Porter. Adrian Broner's a big dude that fights at a lower weight class. All right, that's how he was able to withstand the punches from Marcos Maidana. Marcos Maidana dropped him twice. Marcos Maidana should have killed him, should have knocked him out. Didn't do it, right? So Adrian Broner is a big, strong guy. He's not no small guy. He's about 165. That's what he walks around at. Errol Spence walks around at 150 something, but he could get up to 170 something. Okay. This guy, Cal Brooks, a big dude too. He walk around weight 172. So these are big guys. They're not small guys. Okay. Mikey Garcia walks around 154, something like that. He's a big dude. All right. So don't get it twisted. These guys, yeah, okay. Mikey Garcia campaigned at lightweight, and he fought a guy at super lightweight. But Mikey Garcia walks around at 150 something. Okay. This other guy, what's his name? Danny Garcia is walking around at 150, 160. Okay. But these are not small guys. Okay. That's how Danny Garcia can take a punch like that. Okay. So don't get it twisted. It's not like Errol Spence Jr. Is that much bigger than Mikey Garcia, even though he campaigned at a bigger weight class with guys hit much harder. Okay. And Errol Spence has been hit by guys that hit much harder. So it's not like Mikey's going to be able to hit Errol Spence with something he's never felt before. But the problem with it is he can get Errol Spence's attention, which will make Errol Spence more careful about how he approaches him. And if he gets Errol Spence's respect and attention, Errol Spence is going to box him. And if he boxes him, that fight's going to go to a decision. That's what I'm thinking. So, and I think Mikey has what it takes to get Errol Spence's attention. And I'm not saying that Errol Spence won't beat him. I'm just saying Errol Spence ain't going to just be able to man down him, just run through him like that. That's what I feel, honestly. Nopal Castillos. It's hard to believe this fight is being made. Nopal says Rigo and Lara dip. Yes. Yes. Lara dips a lot. And also rolls under it. Nopal Castellano says they get low. Yeah, you get low. That's what you got. That's part of the defense. You know, we saw it for Colonel Whitaker and a lot of people. You got to get low. Manny Pacquiao does it. Okay. Christopher Smith. If I ever wanted to fight, I'm having what you need as my corner. That's funny, man. Dude, I don't really know boxing. I know some things about boxing, but I don't know how the details, like the details of how to dip, when to dip, what angle to dip at, and that kind of stuff. And the training. It's a lot of training, bro. There's a lot of training. It'll take you like 20 years to get to anywhere near the level of a pro fighter. 20 years, okay, bro? It'll take you a long time because you're adult already. So, you know, pro boxing is totally different to amateur boxing. And it's one thing to have the knowledge in your head, like you know what to do, It's another thing to execute that, especially when somebody's coming back at you and your muscles are not trained to do that. And you're not sharp like those guys. And just a lot of things. It's very awkward. And you find out how difficult it is because you have to train your body to do that. These guys have been doing it since they were little babies. Christopher Smith says, I understand what you're saying. I'm just looking at Errol Spence's style. He'll put a whooping on Mikey. I don't know about whooping, bro. How are you going to whoop something that had got good defense? What you going to whoop on? His arms? His elbows? You're going to bust up your hand. You're going to break up your knuckles on his elbows. You know what I'm saying? And you be hitting, swinging at air. What are you going to do then? You're wasting a whole set of energy, man. You know? Nova Castellana says, hit the like button, family. Help the brother out. Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate that. That's some love right there. Christopher Smith, Mikey has to fight a perfect fight to win this. No, he doesn't have to fight up. I don't know why people keep on saying people got to fight a perfect fight. What's a perfect fight? You're going to get hit. Mikey's going to get hit. Errol Spence is not a one-punch hitter quitter. He's not Marcos Maidana. Okay? He accumulates punishment on you by going to your body. That's his thing. That's what makes him man down people. Come on, man, guys. Can't you see what I'm saying? This is not rocket science. That's why Mikey's picking this fight. Besides that, even if Errol Spence had one punch hitter quitter power, he's not going to be hitting Mikey all the time with it. Even guys with one punch hitter quitter power, guess what? They have to set up their shots. If you are expecting them to hit you, they're not going to knock you out. It's when they hit you and stun you because you didn't expect it. Sometimes they hit you with a shot that you did expect, and yes, it dazes you, but they have to follow up with another shot to put you away. You never really truly knock out somebody unless they just didn't see the shot at all. You don't just knock a guy's senses out of him with one shot. It's very rare in boxing that ever happens. And usually it's because the guy's defense has been open. You found a hole in his defense and you tapped him on the chin and he went to sleep. Or you tapped him on the chin and he lost all equilibrium and he can recover it. Okay? That's boxing. So the chance of Mikey getting knocked out by Errol Spence, the only way he's going to get knocked out is Errol Spence can go to his body. This is not rocket science. So if Mikey knows that, he protects his body. That's all you got to do. But no, that's not all you got to do. You got to protect his body, and then you got to counter Errol Spence, punishing him for every time he tries to go to the body. Because that's what Errol Spence bread and butter is, going to the body. You have to punish the guy. You got to tell the guy, if you're going to go to the body, you're going to have to work for that. If you're going to try and hit me with a lead left, you're going to have to work for that. I'm not giving you that. That's the mentality you have to have. You see? And that's the thing that you guys just don't get. This is not a straightforward fight. You guys are underestimating Mikey Garcia. You really are. Novo Castellano says, what you need is like a younger Virgil Hunter. No, man, I'm not. Please don't put me on that pedestal. Virgil Hunter has trained a Hall of Famer in Andre Ward. I have trained no one, okay? I'm talking here. Training is a totally different thing, man. Virgil Hunter is on another level. His boxing history is on point. You know, I'm not Virgil Hunter. You know, I'm just saying, man, that guy's way ahead of me. It's just I understand boxing in that a lot of things you guys talk about that you take for granted, you're just not seeing what's happening in the ring. You're not watching it really what's going on. Unless somebody was throwing punches at you, you begin to understand what I'm saying. What I'm telling you that Mikey needs to do doesn't mean that he will do it. In the fight, it may be something totally different he has to do, and something totally different Errol Spence has to do, because they decide to fight a different fight. But at the same time, you got to understand that when you watch Errol Spence and what he does and what he loves to do, you realize Errol Spence does not knock out anybody. He breaks them down. That's what he does. If Mikey understands that, then Mikey's going to take away from Errol Spence what he does best, which is break fighters down. And how does he do it? Errol Spence breaks a fighter down by religiously going to the body. That's how he breaks a fighter down. So if you know that, you're going to protect your body, right? Errol Spence may mix it up and go to the head first before he goes to the body. But I don't really see Errol Spence doing a whole lot of feinting. I don't see him mixing in a lot of feinting. To be honest, Mikey does a couple feints. He does a couple feints. He does a couple feinting things. But Errol Spence doesn't really do that much feinting if you really watch it. He does do feigning when he's going to the body, but Errol Spence loves going to the body. You take that away from him, what does he have left? That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. So that's what Mikey will be doing. He'll take away that from him and use it against him. That's what you have to do. That's what Floyd Mayweather would do. And Marcos Maidana loved that hammer punch. Floyd took the hammer punch away from him and he used it back on him. That's what you have to do. And then make the guy now have to do something he doesn't normally do. Errol Spence loves to go to the body. What happens when you can't go to the body? Loves to throw that straight left. What happens when you can't throw that straight left? Loves to double up and triple up his jab to get on the inside. What happens when that doesn't work? And I'm punishing you for that. Now what you got? Now you got to resort to something else. Christopher Smith. Sean Porter is only 5'6". There you go. But Sean Porter comes in with a power jab, a leaping power jab. Coming real quick with that. He does it suddenly. KTMPL. What are you talking about? I'm about the endurance game. I believe this fight takes off from round 6. Maybe it's tactical for the first few rounds to try and feel each other out. Who knows? I don't know. That's like I said, they're both two smart boxers. They're going to adjust and they're going to adapt to each other. And I just don't see Errol Spence just getting Mikey Garcia out of there like that. Mikey Garcia is a big dude. You're not going to just get him out of there. He's not Kell Brook. Kell Brook was beautiful, refined, and all of that, but Kell Brook went head hunting, and he's an outboxer. Kell Brook doesn't know what to do when he gets on the inside. It's not the same with Mikey Garcia. He knows how to shut up. He knows how to cover up properly, and so on and so on. Christopher Smith. He'll whip his arms and make him weak. Good luck on that one. KTMPL. Broner's toast. Cash out fight for AB. AB likes to fight the best, I guess. He likes to fight the best. I don't think he likes to beat the best. I don't think he's interested in beating the best, but he's definitely interested in facing the best and testing his skills out against them. Christopher Smith. Of course, Mikey will get touched. I just can't pick him. Getting touched is one thing, man. Getting stunned or knockout is another. See what I'm saying? One-sided betting odds wouldn't convince me to place money on this underdog. Christopher Smith says Broner is toast against anyone in the top 10. Yeah, we pretty much wrote off Broner, even though his last fight was pretty good. I think he fought to a draw against Jesse Vargas. So he's improving. I just think it's a big step up to face Manny Pacquiao. If you're drawing against Jesse Vargas, a guy that Manny Pacquiao dropped a couple of times, that don't order too well for you, you know. But he is a tough dude, and he is a big dude. So I don't know how it will turn out. Pacquiao will just tag him up or what. Broner is not Floyd Mayweather, I can tell you that. Christopher Smith says even Robert Garcia advised Mikey against chasing Spence. I hope Mikey's judgments were right. Christopher Smith, right. Hey, man, like I said before, there's a lot more to boxing than size, strength, and seeing a man knocking everybody out. That's what and Gennady Golovkin was doing that. He was stopping people left, right, and center, right? Then he bounced up Danny Jacobs, right? Then he bounced up Canelo, and then he got beat. So don't rule out Mikey Garcia, okay? Don't rule the kid out. Don't rule him out. That's all I'm saying. Just because he's smaller, okay, than Errol Spence does not mean he can't be competitive and go to the finish line or even beat him by a small margin. You just never know. You have to watch to see. Okay? Errol Spence is a well-conditioned athlete. Errol Spence is not going to let up, but he can be weakened. You can weaken a fighter. Sean Porter, you know, got dropped by Adrian Broner. Dropped by Adrian Broner. Smaller guy than Sean Porter. Sean Porter is a 170-pounder that come down to welterweight. Nobody's knocking out Sean Porter. Adrian Broner dropped him. So you have to think about what I'm saying now. Register it in your head. Understand what I'm saying. Porter's bigger than Errol Spence Jr. It's a bigger guy. He was a 200-pound footballer. Okay? Think about what I'm saying. So Sean Porter is not somebody you're going to knock out. Errol Spence is not going to knock out Sean Porter. If Sean Porter faces Errol Spence is going to get the fight of his life. Okay? I guarantee you that. Because Porter is going to keep coming regardless. And actually, Porter wasn't afraid to face Errol Spence. What happened with that fight? Why did it fall through? Why did Errol Spence versus Porter fall through? I don't understand. That should have been the fight. But instead, he's fighting Mikey Garcia. Okay, let it be. Errol Spence probably thinking, this small guy, man, I'm going to run through him. Don't think like that. Never underestimate your opponent. This is not just a man-down situation. This is not the same kind of opponent that you had for so many years. So I think he should really think about what he's doing. As much as Mikey seems like he's coming up from lightweight, he's not a lightweight. And Robert Easter is a big dude. Robert Easter is not a lightweight either. He's fighting at lightweight, but he's not a lightweight. You know, how I liken this is to the early days of guys like Sugar Ray Robinson. You know, Sugar Ray Robinson started at lightweight? Yeah, he started at lightweight. And he fought at lightweight for quite a while. He wasn't a lightweight, though. He filled out to be a middleweight. You know what I'm saying? So you got to pay attention to that. Roberto Duran started out at lightweight. He wasn't no lightweight. He was a huge dude. He ended up at super middleweight. Okay? Duran. So don't let it fool you just because somebody's fighting at lightweight. You know, Terrence Crawford started off at lightweight, right? Where is he now? At welterweight. These guys fill out, right? So don't get it twisted. 160, 165, they walk around with that. But they can shrink down to the lower weight classes. You know, there's a certain point in time when they can't do it no more. So don't get it twisted. These guys are big guys. Okay, Danny Garcia is probably a 160 pounder now. Don't get it twisted. That's why he could absorb those punishments that Sean Porter was giving him. You know, because Danny Garcia started off as a super lightweight. That don't mean nothing. All right. Well, anyway, I gotta go. Hold on a second. Let me just, somebody's calling me. I think it was my mom. Hold on a second, guys. I think I might have to call it a day here. Yeah, guys, it's 9:39 p.m. One more thing I want to talk about. So that's Danny Garcia versus Errol Spence. I just thought I'd bring it to you guys' attention. This fight may be more than you think. You know, it might be more than meets the eye. That's all I'm saying. Maybe Errol Spence gets in there and he knocks out Mikey Garcia in 2-3 rounds. Okay. No problem. But maybe it doesn't go like that. And then what happens? Right? So don't be surprised if this fight somehow, some way, ends up going the distance. And Errol Spence does not stop Mikey Garcia, sorry. And again, Errol Spence versus Danny Garcia is an interesting fight as well, in which I don't see Danny Garcia getting knocked out by Errol Spence. I'm going to be honest with you. Errol Spence doesn't knock out Sean Porter. I'm pretty sure about that. He's not going to knock out Danny Garcia. He's not going to knock him out. And he won't knock out Mikey Garcia either. These guys are tough guys, man. And you guys are underestimating these guys. These are not Kell Brook. This is not Kell Brook you're talking about. All right? Keith Thurman. I see Keith Thurman going the distance with Errol Spence as well as my boy, what's his name? Who's the WBO welterweight champion right now? Man, I'm sleepy. I need to go in my bed and sleep. You guys know who that is. Come on, tell me what the guy's name is. I just blanked out. Terrence Crawford. There you go. Terrence Crawford. Right. He ain't stopping nobody. You remember the days when everybody used to talk about one-time Keith Thurman? Keith Thurman ain't stopped nobody. And he ain't stopping them higher terrible guys. He's not going to do it. That was once upon a time, Keith Thurman. Not one time. You got the power, but you ain't going to be stopping them guys no more. Right? It doesn't happen at the top level. These guys are too well conditioned. All right? And so Errol Spence right now looks like he's running through everybody, the truth. But all of a sudden, the truth ain't going to be the truth no more. Once he starts facing up to guys like Sean Porter's gonna be laughing. He'd be like, "Yeah, man, give me Errol Spence. Let me fight that dude." Because it's one thing when you're breaking down guys and stopping them. All of a sudden, you can't break down this guy and you can't stop him. What happens after that? That's what happened with Keith One Time Thurman. He was supposedly One Time Thurman, right? You can't always stop these guys. At the highest level, you're not going to be stopping people. So if that's what you're counting on to stop people, you're going to find out pretty soon that you're going to be going to the distance with folk. Maybe you will pull off some wins, maybe you lose some, but you can't count on your one, I'm breaking down guys and stopping them all the time. Doesn't always happen. All right. And Errol Spence knows that, because in his history, there was a couple opponents he faced where he went the distance with, and they gave him the fits. You just go watch the guy's history, watch some of the fights he had. So he's got some good background, good training and stuff. Yeah, but you can't just run through everybody. It doesn't work like that. For different reasons it happens. You got to have other skills. You have to have other things you can depend on to win a fight. All right? Not everybody gonna get out of there. It's just what it is, especially at the highest level. All right, so Errol Spence, though, very fine boxer, very fine fighter, Olympian and everything. So looking forward to see what he brings to the table in the fight with Mikey Garcia. It's going to be a good fight. It's going to be a good fight, I think. I think it goes the distance, quite frankly. All right, guys, man, I got to get out of here. But it was nice talking to all you guys. Peace to you guys. You can check out my other videos that I had. Some of you guys probably enjoyed it, realized it was good stuff. I'm out. Have a good weekend. Always trust in the Lord, man. God is good, y'all. God is really good. So don't forget him. Peace.